Hi there, it's Eric, and I am going to take us through a scansion of the poem The Railway Station by Archibald Lampman, a Canadian poet. Um, and it's written in iambic pentameter. And I'm going to show you the way to mark up the text so that you follow the rules of scansion that I think are the most helpful to use. So, um, let me just read the sonnet so we can hear it. The rhyme scheme is not the same as a Shakespearean sonnet, so let's hear how it goes, and then we'll talk briefly about the rhyme scheme before we dig into the scansion. The darkness brings no quiet here, the light no waking. Ever on my blinded brain the flare of lights, the rush and cry and strain, the engine scream, the hiss and thunder smite. I see the hurrying crowds, the clasp, the flight, faces that touch, eyes that are dim with pain. I see the horse wheels turn and the great train move laboring out into the boundless night. So many souls within its dim recesses, so many bright, so many mournful eyes. Mine eyes that watch grow fixed with dreams and guesses. What threads of life, what hidden histories, what sweet or passionate dreams and dark distresses, what unknown thoughts, what various agonies. Okay, you can hear the poem and the rhythm of it. The rhythm is an important part of it, but also is its rhyme scheme. I'm just going to make this a smaller point. So if we look, we've got light here rhymes with smite, and flight rhymes with night. So we also have brain rhymes with strain, and pain rhymes with train. So we have two quatrains, groups of four lines that are in the pattern ABBA, ABBA. And then we have eyes, see, rhymes kinda with hysterize and agonize. I would say eyes rhyme with histories and agonies. Probably a stretch to say that ease and ease rhyme. They don't really rhyme. And oh, those should have been D. I jumped a line. So let me erase those. C should be recesses with guesses and distresses, and eyes, histories, agonies, ish. Yes? So CD, CD, CD. And this grouping of six, if this is a quatrain, this is a sestet. Um, quatrain, quatrain. Okay, I'm going to get rid of all that stuff because that's not really part of our scansion. It just helps us understand the rhyme scheme we're dealing with. Different sonnets have different rhyme schemes. They're not all the same. Okay, now you see that I've scanned a few lines and that I've broken the lines into syllables that I've marked with these little marks of a brev and an ictus, a little cup and a little backslash, if you will. And a brev marks an unstressed syllable, unstressed, while an ictus marks a stressed syllable. So each line is broken up into 5 pairs of iambs. A pair is called a foot in poetic meter. And so if we have iambic pentameter, that's 5 feet. I know a meter and a foot are not the same. That's a joke. But meter comes from 5 feet, And iambic is the adjective for iambs. Yes, and an iamb is built out of an unstressed and a stressed syllable. So we count our syllables to begin. So we're going to start down here with where are we going to start? Well, I'll demonstrate on one that I've already done. I'm just going to erase it. We'll start here with this one. And we'll count the syllables in the line and see whether we've got 10 syllables, right? 5 pairs equals 10. So let's count. I see the hurrying crowds, the clasp, the uh-oh flight. 11. Now you'll notice that I've put a little liaison, little tie bar underneath here. That was a hint to myself and people reading this poem that maybe we could do something about this rhythmic faux pas. We want 10 if we can. If we can make it 10 and it makes sense, that's great. Now, sometimes it's 11 because there's an extra unstressed syllable. And I'll use an example down here at the bottom. Mine eyes here. Mine eyes that watch grow fixed with dreams and guesses. You can see that there are 11 syllables, right? One, mine eyes, 1, 2, that watch, 3, 4, grow fixed, 5, 6, with dreams, 7, 8, and guesses, 9, 10, 11. And this kind of line where it ends with an extra syllable is called a feminine ending. And feminine endings mean they have that extra syllable, unstressed syllable at the end. In meter, scansion, feminine is used to refer to something that begins with a stressed syllable and ends with an unstressed syllable. A masculine ending starts with an unstressed syllable and ends with a stressed syllable. So an iamb is a masculine foot, and its opposite, a foot called a trochee. I'll just write that. I'll write that here. Trochee. It looks like trochee, but it's pronounced trochee, so it rhymes with hokey pokey. A trochee. So a trochee is a trochee itself, luckily enough. It's stressed on the first syllable and unstressed on the second syllable. And so if we have a foot, it's a trochaic foot. That's the adjective, trochaic. And that is a feminine foot. If an iamb is a masculine foot, a trochee is a feminine foot. Now here we have kind of a feminine at the, down here with the feminine ending we just did. This is a feminized iamb, as it were. So and guess and this extra syllable. There is a fancy name for this foot, which is called an amphibrach. Unfortunately, an amphibrach is the opposite of an amphibrach because to make an amphibrach be an amphibrach, you'd have to say amphibrach, and that is not what an amphibrach is. Yes, so there's an amphibrach. A feminine iamb is called an amphibrach. I'm going to get rid of that because we don't really need to think about that right now. And I'm going to take away these words, get them out of the way, because they're really not part of what you need to submit. Erase this iambic pentameter, 5 feet, foot. And we'll just keep going with our line here. I'm going to erase the numbers. We know there's 11. We know it's not feminine. The flight. It doesn't end on an unstressed syllable. So we're going to take out the hurrying and make it hurrying. Hurrying. Squish it together. Compress it. Yeah? So compressing is one form of dealing with meter things. And then sometimes you have to stretch words out, telescope them. But here we're compressing the meter in the word hurrying so that it fits the rhythm. So we're going to look for 5 pairs. So we count to I see the her hurrying crowds, the clasp, the flight. We've got 5 pairs now. If they are iambs, the second syllable should be stressed. So I'm going to sort of tap my hand as I go along. I see the hurrying crowds, the clasp, the flight. I've got 5 stresses. So that means that the syllable before that is likely unstressed. I see the hurrying crowds, the clasp, the flight. Seems to work with me. Okay, so we've got 5 regular feet up to this point. Interesting, interesting. Now, let's go on to the next line. Let's count out our syllables. Faces that touch, eyes that are dim with pain. I get 10. You get 10? There should be 10. So if there's 10, we should be able to divide them into 5 pairs. Faces, that's 2, that touch. Eyes that are dim with pain. Okay, good. Now, let's see whether they're iambs. If I'm making the first foot an iamb, the second syllable is stress. Faces. Okay, hang on a second. I don't say faces. Do you say faces? I say faces. Stress goes on the first syllable. So I need to erase that. Faces that touch. So I need to put my stress on the first syllable. Faces that touch. Yes, touch. Eyes that are dim with pain. Could I say that? Eyes that are dim with pain. I could say it, but that's not how I want to say it. I want to say faces that touch, eyes that are dim with pain. I want to go eyes that are dim with pain. So remember we met this. That's called a trochee. Rhymes with hokey pokey. Yes. Faces that touch, eyes that are dim with pain. And I want to highlight something here that often we feel these pairs of feet. Faces that touch, eyes that are dim with pain. Interesting, eh? Bucket-da-da, ducket-da-da, da-da. That's a common feeling of the rhythm of a trochee going into an iamb. And that's a very common pattern in iambic pentameter, that we've got this rhythm going. Yeah, that we break the rhythm. You feel perhaps that the rhythm of the iambic pentameter is like the train, and then suddenly, the rhythm changes. It grabs our attention. I see the hurrying crowds, the clasp, the flight, faces that touch, eyes that are dim with pain. That's interesting, right? The poet is using the rhythm to grab our attention, to break the rhythm on purpose. Now I'm going to get rid of these red boxes because I don't need them, but they're helpful for me to explain the idea of how trochees and iambs interact with one another. Let's go on. I see the horse wheels turn and the great train. 10 syllables. Seems like we got pairs that break like that. That makes sense. Okay, let's see if we can feel out the iambic. I see the horse wheels turn and the great train. Seems like it's iambic pentameter, but part of me is not quite happy here. Because when I say it, I see the horse wheels turn, I want to make wheels important. I see the horse wheels turn. Hmm. Now, one thing that we know is that each iamb has to have the syllable before the stressed one less, right? So I has to be less than C. I see the horse. That's obviously an iamb. Wheels turn. Even though wheels is important, turn is still stronger. And yeah, that's an iamb. Great train. Yeah, those are iambs. Let's think about it in terms of the value of each syllable. And I'm going to use my stressometer. I'm going to feel out each syllable and give a number on a scale of 1 to 10 of just how stressed they are. I see, maybe we'd say 3 and 6. I see the horse, maybe a bit more. The horse wheels turn. Now, wheels feels more than horse. Is that even possible? Wheels turn. I see the horse wheels turn. Well, as long as wheels is less than turn, it's still an iamb. Okay, I'll just work at it 1 foot at a time. And the, well, and the, that's really not two unimportant words. And great train, those feel equally strong. And the weak, weak, great train, strong, strong. And here's where we meet two new ways of having feet. And we're going to change our meter here and make it and the great train. So we're going to make and the two unstresses. And we're going to make great train two stresses. And this is a pattern that poets use a lot to sort of shift the stress into the second foot and lighten the stress in the first foot. And so we have a foot with two unstresses, and it's called a pyrrhic foot, kind of a hard spelling, and a spondy foot. Now, a pyrrhic, the word pyrrhic is really only used, as far as I know it, in one context, and that is in the phrase a pyrrhic victory. And a pyrrhic victory is kind of a false victory, a weak victory, because a pyrrhic victory is a victory that comes before the battle, which is the battle where you lose the war. So though you won that previous victory, the second one, the one that comes after, is actually a much more calamitous battle and you lose the war. So it gives you a false sense. So it's a weak thing, a pyrrhic thing. So, and the is a pyrrhic foot, two unstressed syllables, and a spondee is two equally stressed syllables. And I say spondee with two equal stresses, though I think the word spondee is typically a trochee as a word. Spondee is how you say it. But I often say it as spondee, making it a spondee so it feels, so I feel it, yes, as I say it. So we got, and the great train. And that is a nice solution to that problem. Now, I still want to go back and see, I want to take these numbers out because we talked about how it's iambic, but there's kind of a build going on here. I accidentally erased that vertical stroke there. So I often write a little arrow like this over top of the text to show the horse wheels turn, that build through that. I see the horse wheels turn and the great train. That's how I do it. Yeah. Horse, like, like a horse cough, a horse voice. It's not like a neigh horse. The wheels are squeaking as they begin to turn, and they make a sound like a horse voice. Okay, let's go on to the next line. Let's count our syllables. Now, look, laboring over here. This was originally written like that. Laboring. If it was written like that, move laboring out into the boundless night, that would be 11 syllables. So I've put a little note to myself, laboring, to compress that. So move laboring out into the boundless night. We've got 10. Fantastic. So we're going to erase those numbers. And break into pairs. Move lay, bring out into the boundless night. Okay. Move laboring out. Move laboring out into the boundless night. I could say it that way, but into the boundless night. Into is one of these words that can be said either way. And if I make it a trochee, into the boundless night, move laboring out into the boundless night. It gives this kind of shift, move laboring out into the boundless night, that moves into the end of the poem. So I'm just going to put a little T over top of that to remind myself. There's a trochee here. Don't get caught up in all the chicken scratches. There's a trochee here with a T up here, faces that touch. There's a pyrrhic, a P, and a spondy. I'm going to put this letters over top of them, just so I see them. They jump out at me as I'm reading the text. Okay, let's do one more. So many souls within its dim recess. Says 11. Okay, so if I have 11, the first thing I ask, is it a feminine ending? Recesses. Oh, yes, it is a feminine ending. So I just write fem for feminine ending. I often just put a little plus sign. That's enough, a plus sign. Okay, so it's a feminine ending. No big deal. Feminine endings are very normal. The feminine in life is a common thing. It's no big deal. It just is an extra little syllable. Yeah. Let's break into pairs. So many souls within its dim recess is. I'm not going to put a break because actually this last foot, remember we met our amphibrach down here, is that feminine iamb. So it has 3 syllables. It doesn't get split. There's not 6 feet here. Yeah, it's still 5 feet. The last foot has an extra syllable. Okay, so many souls within its dim recesses. Yep, those are our 5 stresses. So many souls within its dim recesses. Hang on a second. Is that how you say that word? I think a lot of people say recesses. Recesses. To recess is a verb. A recess is to step out for a while. Now, a recess, like a cavity, right? This eye sockets is what I think we're talking about. Or within its dim, the railway station recesses, so many souls within its dim recesses. Is it a verb? No, it can't be because recesses, it recesses is singular, right? They recess. So many souls, that's plural. It can't be the verb to recess. It is a thing. It's a noun, plural noun, recesses. So I'm just going to say recesses is just a different pronunciation than recesses. Yeah. Some people would just argue, you know what? I'm going to say recesses and screw the scansion. Maybe Lampman meant it to be so many souls within its dim recesses, but I like to say the word as recesses. So many souls within its dim recesses. You can do that. It's not against the rules. But in terms of doing your scansion, we want to see if we can make it iambic pentameter. And here I can argue, yes, we can make it iambic. So if you can and still maintain its meaning, that's fine. I think we know what recesses mean. So there. So we've done the scansion. I didn't do distresses because it matches, of course, the feminine ending. So we can put a plus sign at the end of these. They're all feminine endings. Those 3, because they rhyme, right? Recesses and guesses, distresses, they rhyme. So now I've scanned the whole thing. We'll go back and read the poem slowly, trying to feel the rhythm of the poem and try to let the rhythm bring the train in the railway station to life. And also the souls of the people that are spoken about in the second half of the poem, bring them to life. The darkness brings no quiet here, the light no waking. Ever on my blinded brain the flare of lights, the rush and cry and strain, the engines scream, the hiss and thunder smite. I see the hurrying crowds, the clasp, the flight. Faces that touch, eyes that are dim with pain. I see the horse wheels turn and the great train move laboring out into the boundless night. So many souls within its dim recesses, so many bright, so many mournful eyes. Mine eyes that watch grow fixed with dreams and guesses. What threads of life, what hidden histories, what sweet or passionate dreams and dark distresses, what unknown thoughts, what various agonies. Can you feel how the rhythm of the poem, the iambic pentameter, helps bring the meaning to life? That by exploring the rhythm, the structure of the poem, I'm given clues as to how the poem might offer a performance to me that I try to pick up, that I try to bring to life. My notes are ultimately to help me bring the text to life. They are not there just because teacher told me so. They're there to make me think about how the rhythm, this balance of stress and unstressed, makes the text alive. I hope this is helpful to you, and we'll end there. Thanks.